Yo, good morning, Fuzz family. Welcome back to another episode of the Culture Fuzz podcast. I'm your host, Rissa, aka Rissa So Far. And as you may or may not know, Culture Fuzz is about bridging the gap to people, places, products, and ideas that's going to make a quality difference in your life. And today I have a very, very special person, a very phenomenal artist, super talented. I've known her for years. Taja Rae. She is an artist. She's a singer. She's a rapper. She's a writer. She's also the daughter of R&B legend Faith Evans. Her and I have known each other for years. I remember when I first met her, when I was assigned artist for a year with Bear Trap Entertainment. And, you know, I'm just very grateful to have crossed paths with her. She was dropping a lot of gems in this conversation, and we're really excited to see what she has in store next. So I invite you to listen to this conversation with an open heart, an open mind, and to please leave a comment. Make sure you like or follow on whatever streaming platform you're listening to. It'll just help bump this up in the algorithm so more people can listen to this phenomenal conversation. Don't forget to leave a comment if you're listening to this on YouTube to help keep the conversation going. And without further ado, here is Taja Rae.
Taja Rae, girl, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So I just gotta put a light on like how we reconnected, like first and foremost, like how we met, how like we got to know each other. And it's been like, what, 6 years? 6 years now?
It's been about 6 years. The last time I saw you.
Lots of growth, lots of life being lived. So I'm super excited to catch up and just hear about how you've been, what you've been working on. So I was just telling the listeners how I was a recording artist for a year. It's like my favorite thing to reference. I was like, for a whole last year, I was a recording artist. It was fun. It was amazing. It changed my life for a whole year, y'all. It's legit. And I had the blessing of meeting a lot of great people who really impacted my life. And you were definitely one of those people. It was really awesome. So years later, it was really awesome to just see everything come full circle and see your beautiful face. And now Culture Fuzz is this thing. And yeah, girl, like it's been a while. So thank you again for coming on.
Anytime. I love it. I love what you're doing, and I love to talk, and I love to have conversations with people that got sense, you know, and who understands the full spectrum of like the arts and culture. So I'm really excited about this conversation.
Absolutely. So real quick, like for the life of me, could not remember the mixtape that you had out like that many years ago that I was like, yeah, do you remember? I was obsessed with it, but I can't find it anywhere. What was the name of that?
So I had 2 projects. My very first one was called Femme Fever. That dropped in 2012. And then you and I believe, met in 2013. And in 2013, I released one called The Heiress. So that may be the one. That may be the one.
It was a lot of harmonies, a lot of crooning, a lot of like, yes.
Thank you. That was the one that, you know, a lot of people heard. The first one was like, I think I put my first project out at a time where like we were still trying to like figure out how to navigate like the digital music landscape. You know, you pretty much had to put your projects on like Dat Piff.
Oh my God. These people don't know about Dat Piff. They don't know about Dat Piff.
Exactly. Oh my God. But yeah, I think I put one of them on Dat Piff and one of them was on like, what was it? Audio Mac.
Oh man.
So you can still find my projects on Dat Piff and Audio Mac.
But see, those are the sites that I just didn't think to look. I was like, is it on SoundCloud? SoundCloud is still like, you know.
And I do believe one of them, Femme Fever, my first project is on YouTube, I think.
Would you ever put them up on Apple Music or Spotify, do you think?
No, I will. I will. I haven't, because when I listen back to them, I'm like, ooh, I got to do that over. I got to change that. Or like my voice has evolved so much, you
Yeah.
know? And like I didn't have like any help with those projects. I produced every single record and like attempted to mix every single record.
Really? You yourself? Like,
Yeah. And like
man.
I recorded it all by myself. So it when I listen now, I'm like, oh, I didn't really know what I was like. I knew what I was doing,
Yeah.
but it for
Oops.
you know,
Sorry.
we've grown.
Yeah, absolutely. It has grown since then. So that was like 2013. We're in 2021 now. Who was Taja Rae then when you were recording Heiress?
Um
Do you remember her?
I try to forget.
Yeah. Touche,
um
girl.
that's an interesting question. I'll be honest with you. I don't really remember who I was. I don't even recognize who I was
Mm.
at that time. And I when I think about that, I think about this like horoscope that I read about myself. Um, no, it was like an in-depth birth chart, and it gave you like paragraphs about yourself, right? And one of the things that it said about me is that throughout my life, I'm going to have lots of deaths and rebirths.
Mm.
And I really feel that. Like when I look back on myself, I'm like, who was that? Okay,
Man.
who was that? Who was that? Like I'm constantly evolving. Like I might be a whole new chick like 6 months from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't really do it like on purpose in a way of like, oh, it's not a sporadic, like, oh, I just want to be a new person.
Right.
But it's just as I learn, I'm also unlearning. And it's like, I think that's so important for people to allow themselves the flexibility to unlearn whatever's not working and then reteach yourself some new stuff. And then it's like you got to shed old layers so you have fresh skin. You're a whole new being. Like, so yeah, the
Mm.
girl who was making music like 10 years ago, 9 years ago, sheesh, um she thought she knew it all.
Mm.
She thought she was grown.
Yep. Yep.
But looking back, I'm like, oh girl, you ain't know nothing. You didn't know anything.
It's crazy because it's like I do that sometimes too. Like I'll look at old pictures or like something will pop up in a Facebook, like remember where you were 5 years ago, and it's like I don't want to remember, but at the same time I'm like, but I'm really happy that I'm no longer that girl because I remember her. She was anxious, she was lost, she didn't love herself, there wasn't any self-worth. Like I
Yes.
appreciate her and I love her and I hope she knows that I love her, but who it took some work to let her go.
It took some work. I agree, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were writing that album, what were those songs about in Heiress? Can you remind me?
Well, a lot of what I used to write was just mimicking. I'll be honest,
Ooh.
mimicking, things that I would hear other people talk about. Because at the end of realistically, I'm like, girl, you was 19, you ain't know nothing about love, like, like you didn't really know about like how you wanted, you didn't know, but
Yeah.
you thought it sounded good, like,
Yeah.
but I just naturally can write, like, I can just write, like,
Right.
like I can't explain it. Some of it came from inspired by my real life, how I thought I might have felt about a guy, or
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
and I just know how to weave words together. But listening back, it's like, oh, you didn't really know. But then there were a couple of songs that were personal and that were very, very true. Like, I have a song called Phenomenal on the Heiress mixtape that I wrote about my mom. And just like her strength as a woman, and it's just how I like want to give her the world. And then I wrote a song on there called Sister Lover Girl, which looking back, it's almost like the 27-year-old me was writing that to the 20-year-old me.
Interesting. Interesting. What was Lover Girl about?
So Sister Lover Girl was basically saying, like, why are you hiding yourself from the world? The world needs to see you, flaws and all. No matter how you think you're going to be judged, the world deserves to know your talent and hear your story. And I wrote that. I think there was some old lady, like deep inside, that was like speaking to the 20-year-old me, not even knowing that was the future me, like talking to the younger me. But yeah, oh God, that's all.
Chills.
It makes me cry.
I love it. I love it because it's a love song to yourself, and I want to, commend you on your writing skills, by the way. For people who don't know who Taja Rae is, singer, songwriter. I read that you rap too. I don't think I've ever heard that you rap. Do you rap? Is that true?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a wordsmith. I don't.
No, I it's 2 records on the Heiress where I rap, actually.
You do? Okay. I have to go back and listen to it and revisit that. I'm so glad you told me
Girl,
where they are, because
no.
she's like,
We passed that.
No links, pen. No links. We ain't going back. I think it's just more nostalgic for me because I just remember being really impacted by it. Like, I'm very motivated and inspired by, like, I'm surrounded by so many creatives. Like, I'm not just someone who's like, oh yeah, girl, I listened to your mixtape, I love it. Like, I really like, if I really like a project, I will listen to you. Like, you are, so, like, people who've been playing on the radio for like days. Like, it's very, I just remember being very touched by your work. So that's why I'm like, I just for old time's sake, like, I want to go, look at it, or listen to it again. But
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Like, music is very healing. Music is a huge part of my life. So whenever I'm able to find authentic, well put together stuff, especially music, well put together projects, like, I eat it up. Like, it's an experience for me. So just know that I was fangirling, and even with Eugene, I was like, do you listen to this? Do you hear her, like, her, what's it called? I'm trying to think. I'm losing the word. Oh, I'm so out of the game. But her arrangements and stuff, like, yeah, girl, it was awesome. But going back to your writing, like, even if you don't necessarily know what you're writing about, like, that's what makes you such a good writer. Like, you're able to write, and that's what makes you a good writer for other people. You can put yourself in those situations and kind of be like, okay, if this was me, this is what I would say, this is what I would do. So, girl, you can write your ass off. Like, I love your pen game. Absolutely. When did you start to hone in on your writing craft? Like, when did you, like, I know you've been singing for so long, and I know it's almost like a redundant question to ask creatives, like, how long have you been doing this? So I want to know the question when you're just, like, the moment when you're like, yeah, like, I've been writing, but I can do this. Like, I can use this as a way to channel my message to the masses. Like, do you remember where you were that moment?
Like, I can just remember being so young and just always in the studio with my mom. So I would see her, and there and her writers, and they would be writing. And so I'm like running around, a little kid, bored, getting into stuff. And I'll go, in the studios back then, they would always have like mad notebooks and mad pens. And so I would always be like, can I have one? And I'll take one of the notebooks and go in my little corner and write, like, or my friend might come by the studio, to visit or hang out with me while I was there. And I would be like, let's write a song. Like,
oh, wow, I just that's dope.
What my mom was doing. But I actually literally do remember the first song that I okay, wait, no. There is a song that I can remember that is like the earliest song that I can remember. I think I was probably like 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I wrote it on the school bus on my way to school. And it was so Britney Spears inspired. Like,
Oh yes, girl, the queen.
I was so into pop for a minute. I was, but it literally was like a copycat. Oops, I did it again. But it was
Hey.
but it was my own words though. But it felt just like oops, I did it again. And so looking back, I'm like, damn, you were 7 years old and you knew how to like basically be inspired by that sound, but make your own like version of it. Like that's
That's
pretty
inc-
dope.
yes, that's incredible. Like, what an amazing memory. Like, and to think the energy that's connected to that. Like, you grew up around that, you had those creatives around you. So it's like that constant inspiration. Like, that's so beautiful. The fact that you can remember that. Like, I'm always interested to know, is like, what was that moment you just knew? Like, what did it feel like? Because so many people, listening to this, it makes me sad how many people just kind of shove down their light because it doesn't align with what other people think that they should do. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, as an artist, because you brought up an excellent point when I was like, we're going to talk about you, girl, but what do you want to talk about? Like catching up with you, I feel there's so much growth, like so much has happened the past 7 years, past that 6 7 years, and the game has changed from like uploading music through DatPiff and Audio Mac, and like YouTube was just becoming a thing. Like
Right.
Instagram wasn't popping like that. Not in the realm of like, if you are going to release music, these are the avenues you're going to take. Like it wasn't, that wasn't the thing yet. So now in this day and age, what is it like what is the huge difference in terms of you making these adjustments and looking at how you want to put yourself out there? Like what are the biggest changes that you've noticed with yourself?
Um, I, off top, I would say I I'm having more fun now creating, and I'm just being myself. Like
Mm,
I think there was a period of time where not even just me, but a lot of other artists as well were feeling so pressured to like fit a certain mold, you
yeah.
know, especially when streaming and stuff was like first really introduced. And a lot of people, if you remember, started putting like, that's when we first started seeing people put like big brands in their video and stuff. Like,
Mm,
then they zoom in on the Beats headphones, or they like zoom in on the Samsung TV or whatever, because basically labels wasn't making as much money from record sales, so they had to compensate for that income. So they were looking for artists who were like brands themselves.
yeah.
So that's why we got how do you say, the eccentricities of like a Gaga and a Nicki Minaj and stuff, because they had
Mm,
to be so like such a character, in order to
yeah. Yeah.
sell and make big dollars. So I think a lot of independent artists were feeling so forced to like come up with a gimmick or just have a super commercial sound. And I definitely fell into that. Like, that's why I didn't release music for so long, because
Mm,
something something in my spirit wouldn't let me do it.
oh,
Like, I have so many songs recorded, and I would be like, okay, this is my project, boom, boom, boom. And it would be me. It would be authentic. And
yeah.
then I would play the music for like local DJs, or little local producers or whatever, and they would all tell me, "Oh, make it sound more like this. You got to tap into this sound more." And something in my gut was like, they're wrong. I don't
Mm,
have to sound like this artist on the radio. Like, and so I was conflicted, because I was like, well, I can't put out the music I want to put out because they're not gonna like it. But I don't want to put out the music that they want me to put out. Like, it was terrible. And I really
yeah.
depressed up and down for like years because I couldn't figure it out. And then finally, the music started getting to this place where people were just kind of being themselves. And I thank God for things like Instagram and, social media has made it so that people are buying into you, just you, whatever that is, whatever.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're a little skinny white girl from Idaho or whatever, if you're a plus size Nigerian rapper, like whatever you are, like people are just buying into you. Like, and so I feel so much more comfortable now, like just being myself and being able to express however I want. If I want to sing, if I want to rap, if I want to make pop, if I want to make a freaking folk song, like literally do
I would
what
love to hear a folk song from you. What?
I would love to do one. It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket.
Man, people be sleeping on country music. I'm like, y'all don't understand. Country music just like
It's beautiful. My mom, I have to totally give so much credit to my mom because she just introduced me to so much music. Like, she loves the Mamas and the Papas.
Oh, yes.
So we listen to the Mamas and the Papas and the Doobie Brothers and Steely Dan and oh my God, what's their name? Peter, Paul, and Mary. Like, just people will be like, you listen to that? I'm like, yeah, I listen to everything. And
oh my gosh,
I want to explore all of those sounds.
That's incredible. I know you will. So like with what you were saying about how it's changed where people are now, there's more room for people to be authentically themselves, and especially in social media. How has that changed your relationship with social media as a whole?
Well, I think there's a part of me that still is getting used to it just because I low-key am such an old soul, and I'm still getting used to the fact that, I have to post every day. Like, I have to show my face all the time. Like, I have to post something on my story because now there's an algorithm, and it's like, if you don't, interact with, basically the less that people interact with you, the less they're going to be able to see the stuff you post.
Yep.
So it's like you got to get people interacting with you more, so your posts will keep showing up more. You'll be like higher in the algorithm and all. I'm not gonna lie, that part really does give me a little migraine.
Understandably, absolutely. The algorithm is like a beast, man.
It's a beast, and it sucks because it's like it'll make you kind of think like, damn, like it's not about the talent anymore. It's about this machine, but it still is about talent, because at the end of the day, once you get in front of the people, you still gonna have to be talented.
This is true.
You're still gonna have to, like, after a while, they'll be able to tell if you're like not good or not, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, basically, there's only but so long you can get away with just like, I don't know, having
the fluff.
The fluff. Having a cool look or something like that. Like, they might really like you for a minute, but you only gonna be hot for a minute.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like microwave food. You're gonna be piping hot when you first come out. You're gonna be piping hot. But don't it seem like microwave food get cold that quick?
Very fast. Very fast.
I would rather be a slow roasted.
Ooh, them writing words. Like, I'll be a rotisserie chicken any day.
Like, let it marinate.
No, that's real that you say that, because I was just talking. I went on a rant about like influencers on my last podcast, because it's just very, I feel the word, okay, the word is a trigger now, because it's just like everybody cannot be an influencer. Like, who are you influencing? What are you influencing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I love how you put that, because it's like, all right, there's this unfortunate misconception that like these random TikTokers, Jesus Lord, TikTok people and Instagram people, like these kids are doing like these random, just over the top stuff to go viral, which it does. Like there's a formula to go viral, and it's like, okay, you're doing it, but like, what are you about? Like, what are you taking that traffic that you're gaining? What are you funneling it through? Like, do you have anything to promote? Do you have a product? Do you have a message? Do you have a why? Like, it's just so social
And
media is
but, and let me tell you, those people, they used to piss me off so much. But it's like you gotta learn how to like you just gotta learn how to use it to your advantage. Like an artist like me who is like, okay, well, I'm not about to do all of that weird, crazy stuff just to go viral, but I will use you guys like freaking Mario hopping up on the things, you know? So it's like you gotta learn how to like play the game a little bit to get
interesting.
yourself ahead. That's what I've just come to realize about where the industry is now. You know,
Mm.
because if you spend all your time like, nah, man, that's some bull. Like, I ain't even with all that. Like, I ain't gotta do that. I don't gotta, I ain't paying nobody to post me. All of that stuff, it might sound ridiculous, but if you do it the right way, it can really help. And that's just, it just is what it is. So it's like sometimes you kind of gotta just, do a little bit, make a little sacrifice and just, like I said, play the game. Play the game. You gotta play the game to change the game.
What are some sacrifices that you think you've made to kind of start learning how to play the game now? Because this is different. Like, even with, like, I finally feel like I got into a momentum with Culture Fuzz. Girl, it's been like a 3-year thing. And it's just like, okay, I got it down. I got my posting schedule down. I have my content schedule down. You know what I'm saying? But when you talked about sacrifice, that really hit me, because it's like a sacrifice of time. It's a sacrifice of like going out. Like, it's treating this like a business. And it sounds crazy because it's like, oh, what you doing this weekend? I got to make 3 TikToks. It's like,
But it's real. That's real. I know all about that. Like, shoot, even though it's COVID and people might feel like, oh, ain't nobody doing nothing, so blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, I'm doing something. Like, I try to be productive with every minute of the day, whether
mm,
I'm watching a Janet Jackson, like, live in concert. I like to watch people's concerts. I love to watch artist documentaries like Travis Scott's documentary, the Beyonce documentaries, the Homecoming, and the other one, The Black is King.
mm-hmm,
Watch like, different people's interviews and stuff. So like, yeah, I like to soak up information constantly
mm,
because, I feel like that's how, you gotta learn from the greats. You know what I'm saying? And I
man.
that's where I went wrong in the past too. I was such a know-it-all. I thought I knew everything and I didn't want to learn. I wasn't open to learning and like trying new things. So now I'm in this space where I'm like eager to learn. I want to learn, oh, how did they do it? And how did they come up? And I want to hear different people's stories, and you start to realize that a lot of artists go through a lot of similar like things, oh, I was at this moment where I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up, and then I saw the light or whatever. Like, but I like to do that because it makes me feel like, we're all connected, and like I'm not alone, I'm not alone
Yeah.
in whatever my current emotional or psychological place that I'm in. I'm not alone. Somebody went through that before. Somebody who made it through that and was able to level up, So I love immersing myself in other artists' stories and just learning from them.
And to be in that space, like, that takes a lot of groundedness, to go from a place of like, because I was there too, like, you can't tell me shit. I know everything. I know it all. And then life just has a way of humbling you
Oh yeah.
in a way where it's like, okay, I'm listening.
Mhm.
What experiences or, moments do you remember where your ego, was was getting killed, was dying, was being humbled, you know, because it's let's start with that question. Like what was that journey like?
Well, putting out my first two projects, you know, like I said, at that time, even though not for nothing, like you said, you can hear and you can tell that, oh, she's a gifted writer, you know, but yet and still those songs could have been written better, or the beats could have been better quality, or the mixing damn sure could have been better quality. I could have done a better rollout plan. I should have been more active on Facebook and Twitter. And even though Instagram was kind of first starting at that time, I could have been more active with interacting. There were a lot of times where people asked me to perform at stuff and I turned it down because I was nervous. And I look back to like maybe like 2015. I think that was one of the first times I really had that moment of like, why am I not where I want to be? And I had to look back and be like, girl, because you had all of these opportunities to perform and stuff, and you was talking about you too shy, you too nervous. Like,
ooh, look at that accountability.
So, yeah, like how are you gonna see yourself in your this is gonna be funny. How you see yourself in your mind, like, oh, I'm Beyonce or whatever, but you're not putting in the work that a Beyonce puts in. Like, how is that? How does that work? How's that ever gonna like manifest? So my ego definitely like took a little shot when I realized that like other artists who I kind of not came up with, but we were coming up around the same time. I was hearing their name around the same time I first started like coming out too. And then like 2015, 2016, they're signed. They're signed. They're on tour. They're collabing with huge artists. And it's like, well, dang. Well, girl, because you thought you knew it all, thought you had it all figured out, you know. So that's kind of when I first, definitely 2015. That's when I first started like that journey of just self-reflection and just like unlearning and relearning, you know?
Yeah. That's like, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. It's just, I don't think people realize, you know, those humbling situations. I know it sounds crazy now, but like learn to embrace those. Like even now, I still like, but I'm a lot softer with it. I'm more in a place of receiving. Like if I mess up or I stop comparing myself to people, I'm just kind of like, look, as scary as this is who I am. This is what I do. Take it or leave it. And it took a long time to get there, you know, and I'm someone who's not, I mean, now I guess I am with the podcast. I wasn't someone who was really putting myself out there like that. But, you know, as an artist and as a musician, what was it like when you started to unlearn all of that stuff and started to practice being softer? You know, like what were some rituals and practices you started incorporating to help you with that part of your journey?
Well, I had to really go within myself. I had to really disconnect from everything and like just I stopped making music for a while. I stopped being on social media for a while because I would be triggered by seeing other people's success and stuff. So I spent a lot of time just with myself, meditating, praying, deeply meditating, like go into other dimensions. Like, you know,
it's like I need the answers. Yeah,
I need the answers, God. Like, just a lot of healing work, a lot of just going for long walks, going to sit on.
Girl, I've learned to love walks so much.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what it is. It's like I used to be an athlete, so I had to really, that was a huge thing for me to allow myself to be like, girl, you're not training for anything anymore. Like, you don't need to lift heavy shit. Like, just get to know you as yourself? Like, who are you outside of being an athlete? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I have no idea, you know? So it's interesting as you were talking about rebirths, like how your birth chart was like, you're going to have many deaths and many rebirths. I did a post like last year where I was like, how many evolutions can one person have in a lifetime?
Countless.
Like, honestly. And it's kind of like, how many can you let yourself?
That part. I feel like if you're not growing and evolving, then you're like, what's the point? You know, you're literally just here existing and you're not really helping to shape the future, even if it's not the world's future, it's like your family bloodline future. You know, it's like you were kind of just not a, I don't want to say a waste of space, but I just feel like that's the point. That's the point of life. Like,
well, what you doing?
no, but that
no one is a waste.
point
I think it's just
of
like
life.
learning to take up space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever met someone, right? Or do you know anyone? And it's like they're 30, they're 40, they're 50, and they still think the same way or behave the same way from when they were whatever, 20 or whatever. Like, you really are like you were the exact same. You still want to go to the club. You still want to go to the club. Like, you still want to stand in line and go to the club and get sloppy drunk. Like, why? Like, you still want to have a new boyfriend every month. Why? Like, you know, and you can't judge people. So at the same time, I think that's why I'm like really, really focused this particular chapter where I'm at in my life now. I just really want to teach and like encourage people to like grow and evolve, because it's like I can't judge you because I don't know your circumstances. I don't know exactly how you think, what's in your head. I don't know. But I'm going to work 10 times harder to like really try to like teach you and inspire you and motivate you to you know, get on this train, you know, and let's glow up so like our kids and grandkids can like live greater. Like, that's the whole purpose, is passing down generational wealth and knowledge, and you know, not curses. That's what we don't want. We don't want generational curses to keep being passed down. Like, so with my music, with whatever it is, because I want to get into everything, acting, I want to write scripts, everything I do, I want it to be based on inspiring people to evolve, you know?
Can you describe what this chapter that you're currently in, can you describe what it's like?
I feel like the master teacher. I feel like the master teacher, and you know, people may not see me as that right now. It's okay, because they don't know. But it's like the same way they denied Jesus. You know, they was like, you're Christ, like, get out of here. You know, and so some people they don't know me as that yet, but I know me as that, and I already see what's about to happen for me in my life. So I don't allow. I used to feel this intimidation where I would like not do something just because I would think about how someone would react to it, or, oh, so and so's not really gonna care, or, oh, you know, this isn't really gonna impact them. No, bump that. I don't think that way anymore. I'm like, look, this is on my heart. This is what needs to be said. This is what needs to be done. I already know that, you know, I charge up everything that I do and say with like so much positive intention.
I love it.
Like, nobody can tell me nothing, you know?
I love it.
Yeah, like even I put a single out at the top of this month, and it's the first single that I've put out since my project in 2013. Oh wait, no. I think I put one song out in 2015. I did. But this is the first single that I put out in a while, and it was the first time that I didn't care how it was going to be received
That's
because
powerful.
I knew I did my best. I know I did my best. So here it is, and I'm sending. It's like you send your child off to school. I'm not going to be like worried about them all day long. Like, oh my God, I hope that the milk didn't spill in Billy's lunchbox. Like, you send them off to school and you're like, God, I hope they have a great day. I'll see them when they get back. And that's
Hmm.
how I am about like everything right now. My music, whatever it is I'm about to put out, because I know who I am. I know who I am.
That's incredible. And when you hear, that's incredible, by the way, and like just huge congratulations on getting to that space of just that unapologetic truth where it's just like, I don't care what is happening outside of this energy bubble because this is me. This is how I'm going to deliver me. Like it's a lot of work to get to that space and to be able to translate that through your craft. It's an incredible place to be. So when you're listening back, are you talking about Don't Speak? Is that the track that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Incredible track, y'all. That's on Spotify.
Yes,
Y'all go
girl.
check that out. So when you heard that back, like how did that feel when you
I
were
can I almost cried. I kind of did actually shed a little tear. I won't lie. Like, because, and I'll give a friend of mine credit for this. And they said, not even speaking about me and my music, but they said, if you don't want to hear your own music, then, why would you make music that you don't even want to listen to? You know?
mm,
And that's how I feel about some of my old music. Like I hate that song. I don't even want to hear it. But this song, I actually can play it like 30 times in a row and I love
wow.
it. And so now I'm like, okay, so you have to get that's what makes a song great. Like if you can honestly say that you love it and you can listen to it 30 times and if it's your favorite song, then it's going to be somebody else's favorite song. You
That's
know?
incredible. I love that. I love that how like your own music, I mean, it's like an essence of you. It's an extension of you and to be able to tap into that and cuz you know, God, I don't know what the industry is like now. I just see it how it is. Like how has that changed? I know you're saying like people are allowed to be their more authentic self. Does that still apply in the industry or is it kind of like in competition to what social media is creating for independent artists? You know, like how has the game changed? Is it the same?
I believe that there's a balance right now that's
Mm.
actually like it's a really opportune time to be an artist because there's a balance.
I was like,
No,
they're so lucky. They're so lucky we didn't have TikTok 10 years ago, girl.
hello. Exactly. But yeah, I think right now is a really great time to be an artist because I think a certain balance has come to the industry where it's like, yes, you can be your authentic self. At the same time, you know, you then have to um, figure out how to market yourself. So it is still a business. There are still business elements such as marketing and branding, So let's just say I come into the game and I'm like, oh, listen, and I'm just speaking figuratively.
Mhm.
Let's say I'm like, oh, I'm a neo soul artist. I wear head wraps. I burn incense. I read tarot cards. If that's who I authentically am, then I just got to find the right person, creative director or manager or agent, whoever, who has the vision for me of like, okay, here's how we can market that. Here's how we can brand that. So I feel like we've kind of figured out through social media that anything can be marketed and branded. Anything, literally. I can be wimpy little Billy Ray.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight up.
Whatever you are, whoever you are, there is a way to market you and brand you. So I think that's the power of social media right now is like you can be your authentic self. And then the business side of that is, okay, we're going to figure out how to maximize this brand, and market that to the world. And look, who's an example? Lizzo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I've heard stories from, an A&R who worked closely with Lizzo in the beginning. And from what he told me, because she's been putting music out for a minute.
It's been, yeah. A lot of people don't realize like artists had a career before this career.
Exactly. Exactly. And so she kind of got to this point where she was just feeling like quitting because she felt like, you know, I'm not black enough for the black people and not white enough for the white people, and I'm not skinny enough, and she didn't know where she like fit in,
Yeah.
and she didn't know why she wasn't being taken like seriously. And to my understanding, this executive told her, just be yourself. And so she finally got to like the place where she was like, okay, I'm gonna be myself. I'm ghetto. I'm big. you know,
Yeah.
I sing like this. I like to rap like this sometimes. Like, she just found a way of how to like polish it up and make it a pretty package. That's the branding side.
Mm.
And it's sold because she was like authentically her. So she just like polished it. Sometimes that's all you need is like a little polish.
Man.
You
Man.
know?
Ah,
And
yeah.
she's been a huge inspiration for me, because God knows, in 2012, 2013, there were no plus size superstars.
Yep.
And so seeing Lizzo blow up the way that she has been like so inspirational, and she really did kind of like kick the door down, because don't get me wrong, we had Missy. Missy was a rapper. She wasn't really girly. She wasn't trying to be seen as a sex symbol. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she was able to market herself in the hip hop world. We had Kelly Price, R&B.
Mm-hmm.
They was able to market her in like the R&B world. But Lizzo is a pop star. She is a global phenomenon, and to have that like massive amount of success as a plus size black girl who
Man.
who says bitch.
Yep. And
Oh,
talks about self-love, talks about leaving niggas that ain't good for you. Like it's, yeah.
she
Mm-hmm.
she's so authentic with it, and like to see her have that massive success is so just like mind blowing. And she really did like kick the door down for us. I would say for us like curvy girls. So in my head, she's like my big sister.
That's incredible. And shouts out to Lizzo. No, she is phenomenal. She's truly is inspiring. Like even if you don't listen to her music, just knowing her story and like how she got to where she is completely undeniable. And I love her transparency. She'd be on the camera crying, talking about her feelings. And I was like, we need more of this. We need softness. Like
I agree. I think that's important. That's important. I think that, prior to social media era, it was so much about like, oh, this is the image you show to the public.
yeah.
Your public image and your private image are so separate and different. And I feel like now you're able to kind of be more authentic publicly, like this is your platform, your Instagram, like however you feeling today, you can share that. But those are the things that people like gravitate towards. And that's what
Hmm.
helps to win, gain fans and a following. So that's important. I think that's dope.
The more relatable the content, like the more people gravitate towards it. That's what I learned with like my TikToks and stuff. Like just trying to, I really love TikTok, like a little bit too much. Like I have a lot of fun. But it was finding that balance of
I
like doing
haven't.
all.
I need to get on
I
TikTok.
was about to ask, are you on TikTok? You might you have you like do you have an account where you at least scroll and like what girl, you gonna get sucked in. It's
But I'm
so like
already like I already be on Instagram way too much.
oh
So
then don't do TikTok. Don't do it.
that's why I'm scared. I'm like, I had a Snapchat for like 5 minutes.
I don't do Snapchat. I can't do Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm like, man, but you can do everything on Instagram, so why would I go get a TikTok and a Snapchat and a this and that.
I will say this. The algorithm is a little bit more forgiving on TikTok than it is on Instagram and Facebook.
So I
Like,
hear. So I
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. You're like, still ain't doing it. Thanks, though.
No, I'm gonna get with it. I'm gonna get with it. I'm gonna have to, because let me tell you, I have big plans this year. I really do. I have a really big record that I'm getting ready to release. Most likely late April, maybe May. Um, and so I'm already like foreseeing that, I will have to engage more
Yeah.
on those platforms. Have to get out of my little shell.
Yeah, it's like the advice that you were giving, it's so easy for me. I hate taking my own advice. It's like it's like I can preach it all day, but when it comes to me, I'm like, okay, I can do this. But
Right.
you're so creative, and like it's just TikTok is like any artists or creatives listening out there, if you don't have TikTok, it really is super, super helpful. I will say that. But going back to, because like I'm huge on mental health and I'm huge on like finding that balance and social media. There's so many times where I literally had to be like, I know social media is very detrimental to my brand and what it is that I do, but there's also times where I'm like, if I see another freaking photo from someone, I'm going to throw up. Like it's
Right.
too much. So as an artist, someone who needs to constantly put themselves out there and be in people's feeds, like what advice would you give to independent artists to find a balance that will keep them in a space where they're still able to produce good content?
Okay. Let me see if I heard that correctly. What advice would I give to artists to find a space where they're able to still
Like
create?
a balance. So let me rephrase the question. Now it's not complicated. I say a lot of words. So finding that balance, like that balance of not being on social media so much that it affects their mental health, because
Right.
having to put yourself constantly in front of people, having to be on social media a lot, it can definitely wear on you. But also as a
Yeah.
creator, business owner, artist or whatever, you still have to be in that realm, So it's like,
Okay. I
yeah,
got
yeah.
So for me, it's just like when I'm writing a song. When I'm creating a song, if it starts to feel like a challenge, like if it starts to feel like it's giving me a headache, or like I'm getting nauseous, like, or I'm getting sleepy, or I'm getting worked up, I'm getting frustrated, any of those negative like emotions, then I walk away from it.
Mm.
And I do the same exact thing with social media. I can be on there just, scrolling, checking people out. If I ever start to feel triggered in any way, like be it from seeing somebody else, maybe a little thought will creep up in my head like, oh, I should be doing that, or any negative emotions that may come from me being on social media, I just give it a little break. I walk away from it for a second and kind of like sit with that feeling, like, okay, what is it that triggered me to start like getting anxiety or whatever?
Mm.
And like, okay, why did that trigger me, or what have you? I just breathe a little bit, take a little break. It's important to step away from it. It's just as equally important to step away from social media as it is to be on social media. So again, balance, balance. Just like I think it was the Lion King said, life is a delicate balance. And it really is. It's a
Go off, Lion
delicate.
King. I love you, Disney.
Tell that's one of my favorite movies.
Man, did you like the remake with where they did like the
The Lion.
computerized or the animated lions? Yeah.
I I think I fell asleep on it.
Say no more.
I'm gonna be
Say no more.
honest. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
Don't feel bad. A lot of people, especially a lot of people who grew up on the cartoon one, are just like, my heart, like it's not doing it for me. There's no resolve. Like,
I did watch it. I did watch it. I think I got kind of far into it, but I do remember falling asleep because I don't remember how it ended.
Me, I was like, I don't know if this is age or whatever, but I remember dating Eugene like years into our relationship. He's like, I'm not buying you movie tickets no more. And I'm like, why? He's like, you always fall asleep. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
ah,
God.
yeah, I feel you.
That's my move. Always falling asleep. Even
I'll
at
fall asleep
home.
anywhere.
I put a movie on and like 30 minutes into it, I hear snoring. I'm like,
Me. Me all
hey,
day.
you got
And
anything?
I could fall asleep anywhere. Like, it's crazy. Like, Eugene's like, that's a talent. I'm like, it is. I just like focus and just, I'm asleep. Like,
No,
oh, we need
that
to kill
is
some
a
time.
skill, girl. That is a skill because I struggle to fall asleep sometimes. I've actually been experiencing some really bad insomnia since
Really?
COVID. I don't know if it's because of just like kind of having the same like routine, every day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of starting to feel like the Twilight Zone after a while. But I've just found myself up really late at night and my thoughts just like not slowing down.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I take melatonin sometimes that helps
Love.
me.
I love melatonin. That shit's bomb. Um, I had a follow-up question too. Oh, okay. So going back to what you were saying on the cue that people can tap into when it's time to step away from something, I love that. Like it's like if you feel resistance, frustration, tiredness, all of that stuff, like use that as a cue to be like, okay, like what's going on? Asking yourself those reflective questions because I'm noticing there's a shift in terms of like that entrepreneurial mindset because it was so Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, like it was just so like go, 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 push through it until you like burn out. Like I feel like the burnout was being praised, but now recently I'm starting to slowly see that a different tune is being played.
Yeah.
Like like people are getting more sleep. Like sleep is so important. Like I don't understand how people only function on slap on like 4 hours of
Three
sleep by
hours.
choice.
Yeah,
By choice.
I don't get it. I need 8 hours.
Girl, at least. And I pride myself. Do you follow I don't know any social media influencers that you follow, but what's her name? Jackie something. She's a black beauty influencer. So she built her enterprise. She has her own beauty company and all that stuff. And she put something up today. You know, she has all of the bells and whistles, her G-Wagon, her nice house, like all of that stuff. But what she was talking about, she's
Oh,
like,
girl.
I am so done. Exactly. First of all, I love to see it. We love to see it. But I love the message that she put behind it. She's like, I'm done feeling bad for putting my needs first. Like if I want 10 hours of sleep, I'm gonna get 10 hours of sleep and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. And I was like, this is a successful, self-made black woman looking y'all in the eye, looking me in the eye and being like, we ain't gotta subscribe to that.
Then again, she's saying that after she already built her success.
This is true.
Because trust me, when she was in the beginning phases trying to get it off the ground, I bet you she wasn't sleeping.
This is true.
And
You're
that's
absolutely
what
right.
I've had to realize it takes sometimes. For instance, with my song, my most recent single, Don't Speak, I spent 6 days straight up until 6 or 7 in the morning
Yeah.
for 6 days straight. And I might have gotten like 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep after that. Then I'll get back up, you know, do whatever I had to do for the day. But then at night, like 9, 10 o'clock, I would lock back into the song and just be up, like, because, I like to work at night. I just feel like everybody else is settled. Those are my creative hours.
Mm,
But 6 days straight, I was up till one time, I think I was up till 9 in the morning because I really wanted to just really um, focus on every detail with this song.
yeah.
And that's the kind of work ethic that it takes. It takes that mindset of by any means necessary, I am going to get
Yeah.
this done and I'm going to perfect it. and do it to the best of my ability. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it takes that. So,
No, I appreciate
yeah,
you.
to a certain point, I'm sure you can be like, I'm about to sleep for 10 hours.
As my employees run the office, like,
Hello.
no,
Right now, I'm my
yeah,
employee.
girl. Someone the other day was like shocked because I was like telling them everything that I do, and they're like, "Wait a second, like you do all of your marketing and designing and all that stuff for Culture Fest." I was like, "Yeah, girl, I ain't got money for a team yet. Like, I have
That was
to."
me. I I recorded myself. I mixed it. I made the beat. I did the little promo videos that I put up, created the cover art and I did the lyric video. I
Ooh,
taught
girl.
myself how to use Adobe After Effects because that's what it takes when you don't,
You're
have the
right.
budget in the beginning. Fake it till you make it.
Absolutely. You're right. And I appreciate you actually bringing that back around and putting that into perspective because right now, a perfect example, I got caught up in the hype. I'm like, I could be that too. And you're like, hold on a second, sis. Like, there's still a level of sacrifice and a level of energy that it's going to take from us in the beginning stages of this. And I think that's something that as long as I've been doing this, even for the few seconds, even I still got caught up. It's like, no, we might still need to lose sleep. It's like, how bad do you want this? And I know every single day I feel it on a molecular level, like with every cell in my body. I'm like, this is going to take off, and this is what's required of me for this to take off. Like, if I want to be that person who's capable of handling something so big because I'm asking for it to be big, like, I got to make sure that I'm prepared to do that. So it's true. Like, it's absolutely true. She was probably more than likely up till 2, 3 in the morning, editing those videos, like
Yeah.
networking, doing all that stuff. Hell yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you, hit it's like hit training, interval training. No, for real. Listen, because it's like this is the balance of like how to be successful, right?
Mm,
Go hard, push, go hard. Okay, rest. Rest.
mm.
Rest. Now let's get back to it. Let's go. Okay, let's rest. Bring it down. Let's rest.
Damn. That's
Like,
real. That's exactly how it feels.
that's real,
Straight up.
that's what it is. That's what it is.
That's really, and I feel like that's a perfect way to describe this balance. That's like literally what it is. Because it is a balance. It's like you go hard, but also listen to yourself. Like, it's like, we need a break. Like, okay, we need a break. Because anytime I push through that, my content suffers. Like, it always
Absolutely.
suffers. Yeah.
It will show. It will show. Like you said, it'll show in your content or your art or just how you show up in the world. It will show. So it's like it's important to just get in tune with yourself.
Mm.
And that's a phrase that like, I would hear and didn't really understand what it meant until I finally came to really understand, okay, get in tune with yourself just means trust your gut, trust your know what your body's trying to tell you, know what your triggers are, know, what it's going to take for your energy to get up. And then when you're up too high, know what it takes for you to bring your energy down a little more. Like, just tune in with yourself. Like,
Mm.
you're constantly giving yourself like clues and signs, and you just gotta be able to read it and understand all of the codes, and once you master that and like master yourself in that way, you can accomplish anything.
Absolutely. And it takes time. It's kind of like dating yourself. It's like take
Yeah.
yourself out on dates, go do different stuff, like see what sparks joy. And it can be the weirdest, randomest shit. Like I keep buying plants. I can't stop buying plants. And I kill succulents. Like I plants, yeah, like house plants. And I have a talent of killing succulents. Like the first thing anyone tells me is like, you can't kill a succulent. I was like, you haven't met me. I have like a special superpower. But for some reason, and I know it sounds cliche, like everyone's buying plants and roller skates are in quarantine. I was like, nah, but like there's this like, I'm like, I get it. There's like 3 things people are picking up, but there's only so much we can do inside the house. So like we have to
Right.
like find ways to put that out. But what's interesting is that taking care of plants have forced me to take me outside of myself. Like I have to be like, okay, what do you like? Why are you dying? Like it's how do I keep you alive? Like you have to fully depend on me. Like there's this odd solace that I have with taking care of them, and as a result they're providing like, this energy and this warmth and like this environment that I'm just like this exchange and this duality like of that's just coming from a plant. Like I know it's so crazy and it sounds so weird, and I was like, Rissa, I don't even recognize you. Like what's happening? But to find that different part of myself and being like, damn, like I didn't know that this would bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
What else can bring me joy that I
Right.
didn't expect, And on that note, during quarantine, has there been anything that's just kind of like, oh, I didn't know that it was in there that you learned about yourself? Anything positive, negative?
Um, wow, I never really thought about that. Um, well, I've learned what doesn't work for me.
That's a big
Being
one.
inside does not work for me.
Yeah.
Being still does not work for me. Quarantine has made me realize that idle time is not my friend, because I don't always make the best choices for myself. So I had to be honest with myself and say, okay, China, it's been X amount of months that we've been in quarantine. What have you accomplished? And while I can say, oh, I accomplished this or I accomplished that, there are a lot of other things that I didn't accomplish that I know I should have and I could have if I would have made better use of my time. So I have learned that I have to create a schedule for myself. I have to. Just like in school, like I have to, like, I put it up on my wall. I have like a dry erase thing, and before I go to sleep, I have to create my schedule for the next day. Otherwise, if it's just free flow, I may not always make the best use of my time.
Yeah.
So I'm really into scheduling everything and writing everything down. And you know what? I just had the little light bulb go
Oh,
off.
yes, girl. We love to see it. We love to see it.
You know what I have learned during quarantine? I've been really experimenting in the kitchen a lot.
Ooh,
Now,
go off.
don't get me wrong. I've always been a cook. Like I've always been that friend. Like my friends know I can cook. And if you come over, I'm gonna cook you a bomb meal. Like,
Ooh, yes. I'm that friend that likes to eat. Eugene's the cook. I'm the eater. So
I had to, because I was the oldest, so like I would always cook for my brothers.
got it.
So I just always cooked. But I've been experimenting a lot, like especially because I really would love to. My ultimate goal is to be plant-based.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I really want to be alkaline, vegan.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It's a psychological process. Absolutely.
And it's all here. It
Yep.
really is.
Yep.
Because on my days where I'm good and I eat, well, I feel fantastic.
Absolutely.
But then something in my mind is like, girl, you want to go to Sonic and get a shake. You know you want to go shake.
Yeah.
You know you want to Whopper Junior with cheese, bitch.
Oh, with the cheese, please.
But it's all in your mind, because literally the food that may not taste how you want or whatever, like if you don't have a taste for it or whatever, that's the food that like makes you feel amazing.
It's crazy.
So, it's a weird psychological thing. But I have been experimenting with a lot of like alkaline vegan recipes, learning how to make my own salad dressings.
Ooh.
Yeah, without any like added sugar or dairy or none of that, or so I've really been. And have you ever been to Sweet Green?
No.
Okay, girl, I'm about to change your life.
Please do.
Sweet Green is like my new addiction because I love salad, but like I never really had a salad this good, like for real. And I realized what it is how they roast their vegetables. Like they've got the roasted sweet potatoes and the roasted mushrooms, and they just, however they season them, perfection. But they got this dressing though. They got this dressing though.
Oh man.
So Sweet Green has this spicy cashew dressing. And I was waiting for them to like make my salad, and I looked on the sign and I realized that it was vegan. So I said, oh, okay, I don't feel so bad for eating this and loving it so much.
Put extra, please. Thank you.
Heavy on the spicy cashew.
Man, that sounds incredible.
But then like I Googled it and I saw like a lot of people had copycat recipes, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to make my own. So I made it. I was like, okay, it's missing something. And then I realized, oh, okay, I'm missing the cilantro. So then I put that in there and I said, oh, it tastes just like Sweet Green. So now I make my own spicy cashew dressing. And
that's amazing. Are you sharing the recipe?
I mean, it's Google.
Just like Google it. That's
Google
like,
it.
Wait, so where's Sweet Green located? Are they in LA?
Yeah, there's one in Pasadena, Hollywood, Marina. There's a few.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I haven't lived in LA for the past 3 years now, so I don't know what's what out there anymore. Yeah, I moved out here.
Both are probably in the same space because I was like, I gotta get out of LA. Like,
I live in San Bernardino now. So listen, editing this back in now. But moving out of LA was probably one of the best decisions that I didn't even know I needed to make. Like I was trying to escape everything. I didn't want to deal with myself. It was the biggest depression I've ever had. I was working, I had it all. I had my studio apartment. I was working for a concierge doctor's office, like checked all the boxes that I was supposed to check. Miserable though. Hated, like was so unhappy. And instead of taking a step back and working on myself, I was like, I'm just going to move in with Eugene. And like, that's going to be my answer. Girl. He was like, love you, but your happiness is not my responsibility. And I was like, no, what am I going to do? So that was a very intense and necessary year for me. It was like tested my relationship, it tested my mental health, it tested my spirituality, all of that. But I really, really, really honed in and worked on just healing, not for the relationship, not for anyone else, but for myself. Like it was very important for me to be like, for me to know that no matter who I was with, whether it was by myself or with someone, I'm always going to be that person. Like I'm only going to have myself. So yeah, I don't want to move back to LA. I love LA. LA, like grew up in the Valley. LA like helped shape me and mold me. It taught me a lot about myself. But when it comes down to it, where I want to like call home, I'm like by a lot of mountains. I'm by a lot of more nature. It's not as noisy. I can see stars in the sky. And I was like, these are the elements that are important to me. I have to be around nature. Have to. Yep.
So there's a couple of things that I wanted to say in regards to that. Yeah, girl, I feel you. I think that LA will do that to people. And it's crazy. You're like, I'm from LA. Like, but when you get to like a certain age, I feel like, especially like in the years of trying to like navigate professionally and you LA can kind of like because let's be real, it can be a little shallow.
Absolutely.
It can be it can be a little shallow and fake. And so you kind of got to like come back down. At one point, I think I really tried to like mix in with that,
Mm-hmm.
and saw myself starting to not be myself. I feel like LA will do that to you depending on what field you're in or trying to be in.
Or
You
what parts of LA you're
or what
trying to like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can,
absolutely.
start to like lose yourself a little bit. I definitely did. And so I got out of the city. I just came more towards the south, close by the water to just get some peace and just, I love it. I absolutely
Mm-hmm.
love it. And I wanted to just piggyback off of what you said about um, test your relationship.
Mm.
It's so true. I feel I feel like, well, not necessarily test your relationship. You said that you had to become okay with you and like healing you and working on you and realizing that whether you with somebody or not with somebody, you still got to be okay with you. You know? That is so dope that you were able to come to that realization, because I feel like not everybody does, you know?
Mm.
Most of A lot of people nowadays, they feel like they have to be with somebody and they
Mm.
don't feel okay if they're not in a relationship. And that was me, the younger me. The younger me, like, always wanted a boyfriend, always wanted to be in love and
Girl,
stuff like
same.
that. Yeah, and it's funny, once I got into my relationship, I started to follow, kind of develop this thing where I was like falling in love with myself. And then I got
Mm.
to the point where I realized, like, oh, I love this individual, but I also really love me.
That part. Ooh.
Like I rock with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
I value alone time more now that I have a partner. You know?
I love it. I
But
love it.
I alone time, like, babe, I'm gonna go take a drive. I just want to be by myself for a little while. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Like,
Nope.
I think that all women, would hope that all women at some point in their lives experience that, just
Yeah.
really, truly, genuinely loving and liking themselves.
Mm. Absolutely. Like it's this like even the way that you said it, the way that like your tone changed and your body language perked up, you're just like, I really fuck with me. Like I really like I am dope. I was totally hang out with me. And that's I could wasn't able to say that for like a really long time. Like when I was really doing the ego killing and really doing the shadow work and really started to pull at the roots of my toxicity, one of the questions I would ask myself was, would I want to be my friend? Would
Mm,
I want to marry me? I
mm.
said no. I said fuck no to both of those. Like if I'm being fully real, no fluff, not there's no one else in the room but me. No, I wouldn't. And these are the reasons why. And then like flipping that and being like, okay, what do I have to do to become, not somebody else's wife, but like a wife to myself,
Right.
a friend to myself, like all the things that like, oh, I got to do this to keep a man. Nah, man, you got to do it to keep you, to make you happy. Like,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? So that was a very, very hard conversation to have with myself because I'm like, I'm not the shit. Wait. But now that I've worked on it and like, I don't feel like I'm faking any sort of funk. I don't feel that like, you know, I'm like holding on to an identity that doesn't make sense. Now it's just like, man, like I'm so wholeheartedly in love with myself and not from a conceited standpoint. Like it's just like
Right.
I'm solid, like I'm good. Like I don't need you to give me the love. I love that you give me the love. Like I love any type of love, but I don't need it like that. Not
You don't
how
need
I
anybody's validation.
yes.
I
Yes.
validate me, you know?
Mm, all day. All
Mhm.
day without hesitation. So I gotta ask, with these evolutions, with, continuing to fall in love with yourself every single day, how has your definition of happiness evolved?
Shoot, dramatically.
Love it.
I
Love
think
it.
I think that at first I thought that I was happy because because I had a lot of friends, because
Mm.
I went to the coolest events and concerts and wore nice clothes and had money and could go out to eat at the nicest restaurants. And, if I like got attention from boys and those really dumb, insignificant things define my happiness.
Mm.
And
Yep.
the older I got, just month by month, year by year, I would start to realize more and more that none of those things made me happy. And I'm literally probably the happiest sitting on my couch by myself, burning sage or incense and, candles lit. And I'm probably listening to Pandora, all my favorite music, and like drinking a cup of fresh made ginger tea that I always.
Oh, yes. This vibe.
It's a vibe, okay? Like, that's what I'm saying. I fuck with myself because I just be creating the vibe for myself. And that is
Same.
my happy place. And I don't need nobody. Like, I don't need nobody else. I find myself laughing with myself. I
I
find myself
love it.
laughing with myself, really having conversations with myself, like, girl, for real. Like, out loud.
Those be the real ones, though.
My new definition of
Mm.
happiness is is self-love,
Mm.
and also self-acceptance, accepting who I was and where I am now and who I'm working to become, like accepting all
Mm.
that and just being real and honest with myself about everything. All of that is my new definition of happiness because I feel like I'm doing a good job. I feel like I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
I'm proud of me for doing my work to become a better me, and not just for me, but for my future, generations. And all of that right there makes me happy.
That's incredible, girl. Like it, and I gotta say, like, you can see it. It's the aura, it's the energy. Like you can tell when somebody has that self-love. Like you can totally see it. So just like I commend you, I congratulate you on your journey. Like
Thank
such a beautiful light, such a beautiful spirit. And I'm super excited to hear that translate through your new project. Like it's gonna be dope. It's gonna like what's the name of it?
So I don't have a title yet.
Untitled.
I'm not actually working on a project. I'm just recording so much music
Yeah,
and putting out singles,
I love it.
but eventually I will release another full length like
Absolutely.
body of work. But right now we're just gonna hit them with singles for now and just see what sticks, what the people like, and,
Yes.
you know. But
Yes.
definitely, there's gonna be some dope stuff coming for me. Like over the next rest of this year, really, like month to month, you'll hear a new record. So
I'm
look,
so excited.
yeah, stay on the lookout. We going hard this year. I posted this on my story about like a month and a half ago. I was like, you guys, this year is for the win. Like
Yes.
and I feel that about myself so hard. I'm like, this is for the win. Like, okay, we learned a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of errors, a lot of, lessons learned. Okay, let's put all of that, let's apply all of that. Like,
Yes.
and this is fourth quarter for me. Like, so
Girl.
now it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's win this ring.
I love it. I can feel that. I'm like, oh, she's serious, y'all. Like she
Oh,
like
I'm serious. Exactly.
that's how it's gotta be. Well, I mean, again, I can't wait. So with these singles that you're gonna be putting out with this new essence of you, this new music, what are you hoping your listeners to hear? What message are you trying to get across?
Mm. I don't know.
That's real. Like, wait a second. Like, that's so honest. That's so real. And it's like, girl, I'm just making music. I'm making music because I love it. That's,
Yeah.
hold on a second. So I would like to highlight this because we're in a time where we feel like we need to know the answer. We feel like we have to have something lined up and ready to go. And like the raw vulnerability and acceptance of that moment was just so refreshing to see. It's like, girl, I'm just making music. We're gonna see where it's gonna go. I
Look,
love
let
it.
me tell you exactly how I processed that. Right? You asked me the question, and in my mind, real quick, I was like, oh my God, I should probably insert a very well spoken answer right here, but I do not know what to say. So I was like, I don't know.
And that's an answer. Do y'all hear me? I don't know is an answer. It is. And I will
Wait,
take
but
that.
you're so right though. I think the reason why I don't know is because I'm just making music because I love it. Because I love to make music, and it's like I might be listening to the radio or whatever, hear a song, and I'm inspired by that. Ooh, I love the way they did the bass line on that song. Like, then I'll just go sit down and try to like get, channel that inspiration into something new.
Yeah.
And hey, this record is actually dope. Let's put it out. Like,
Oh,
it's literally
see?
just that. But I will say, um, ultimately, like when I do make my album, I definitely wanted to have a concept. And the concept is definitely going to be very centered around the journey. Just that's all. And in fact, that might even be the title, The Journey.
Ooh, look at
Really,
that. Look at
I just
that.
feel like how I told you, constantly been evolving and just death and rebirth and becoming. It's like every time I grow new skin, my new skin is like stronger and shinier and and so it's
That's
like that
beautiful.
that journey to becoming the highest version of yourself. I
Yeah.
I hands down know without a doubt that that's going to be the concept of my first project. Um, I'm just not there yet in
Yeah.
terms of recording it, but for right now, we just having fun with it, just putting out singles, whatever I feel.
Love that. Oh, I love that. That's what it's about. That's what creativity is about. It's getting back to why am I doing this? Because I love to do it. There's really no other reason. It's like same thing with Culture Fuzz. Why am I doing? Because I love to do this. I love to bridge the gap to stories like yours, to conversations. Like it brings me joy. I don't know why. I don't have an explanation. I don't need an explanation. It just
Mhm.
makes me happy, and to see that in you and to see that you found that space and you just rocking and vibing and lighting your incense and your candles and you just
Right.
being your true authentic self. It's incredible to see that, and I hope more and more artists take that as an example of like you don't need to be anybody else but yourself. Look at people like Lizzo, look at people like, I'm trying to think like who else, like Cardi B, like she stayed authentic to herself the entire
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. Because they figured out, oh, wait, that can work. That can sell, you know? No, no, no. Don't change. Be you. That works. There's a
It's like
lane for that.
authenticity, what, it's a
She's like,
thing, like
wait, I don't have to have a speech coach. I can talk like this.
yep. Yep, and we love her for it. It's
And
like,
we
please
love
do.
it.
Yes,
Love it. We love to see it. You know what I
absolutely.
wanted to actually kind of like touch on real quick?
Yeah, please.
So, when you and I first met, right? I was working with BTE, and that was my first job, by the way.
Really?
Yes. So,
Wow.
oh God, I'm gonna make a very long story as short as I can.
Or medium size, whatever you want.
But no, the reason why I say I'm gonna keep it short is because I have to write a book. I have to. Like, I'm only really giving you this much of like everything that has happened in my life. Um, I know I'm going to do a book or a TV show or something based on my life because it's been crazy. But so I graduate high school and I don't really know like what I want to go to college for necessarily because everyone's like, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer or I want to be a nurse or I'm studying, business management, whatever." I just didn't really want to do any of that stuff. Um but one thing I knew I wanted to do was move out, have my own place, be grown.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and I really wanted to go to New York. So I applied to NYU. I got into NYU. So I went to the music program at NYU. And so I did my first year there. But remember, I didn't really want to be in school. Like, I just wanted freedom, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
So the 18-year-old me,
I was like, girl, are
I,
you describing my life?
I was I was skipping class. I was not taking school serious at all.
Yeah.
And I failed like multiple classes. So I damn near had to do my whole first year over again. And my mom, being a mom, was like, well, we didn't pay all this money for you to go there and mess up,
Right.
So that's what brought me back to LA. And so she was like, well, you're going to do a much cheaper program here in LA,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I come back to LA, I go to Musicians Institute. And, I was in school, but at the same time, my mom was like, well, you need a job. You need to make money. She was hard on me. She was hard on me because
she's being a mother.
yeah, she was like, you went to New York and wasted all that money and all that time. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be hard. Let me teach you a lesson. So I came back and she was like, you got to start paying your car note. You got to get a job. So
accountability, absolutely.
she held me accountable. And so my first job was with Bear Trap. And so, well, actually, it wasn't even technically with Bear Trap. It was with Miranda.
Got it.
I was Miranda's assistant. And so at that time, coincidentally, they were also launching Bear Trap. And so it just kind of like made sense that, oh, she's in school for music. I did a music business program at MI. So they were like, well, she's doing this program and she's, your assistant. Let's have her come do stuff for the label.
Yeah.
So that's how that kind of worked. It was such a fun time. Like I think back on that, I'm like, oh, that was so fun. But like at that time, I had no like money management skills or like I didn't know how to manage my social life, like between work and then school. And then a part of school was I had to have an internship in order to save time and energy and take the easy way out because Bear Trap was a label. Internship was Bear Trap.
Already, I was all like done. I would have done the same thing.
Let me tell you, looking back, I really wish that I would have allowed myself to have the opportunity of actually going to intern at like, a real label because a girlfriend of mine interned at Sony and they hired her. And they, she ended up getting hired. And so I look back and I'm like, that was a lesson for me. Yeah. I wanted to take the easy way out. And that's something that I used to do a lot in my life is take the easy way out. Oh, you want to live in New York? Take the easy way out. Go to a college in New York. That was the easy way out for me because my parents weren't worried as much because I was in school.
Yeah.
Even though I really was just like not going to class.
Yeah.
I used to try to always figure out how to sneak around and take the easy way out of things. And so that's just one of the biggest lessons I can say for like young women and just young adults, period, trying to navigate through life and stuff and figure out their professional life and stuff. Don't take the easy way out Really
Yes.
just put in work. Put in work, and hard work will show. It will pay off. Because if I would have worked as hard as I should have, 9 years ago, I would be in a completely different place right now. And it's okay. It's okay if, because you learn the lesson. But
Right.
what matters is when it clicks for you and you do learn that lesson, like, apply it and you'll move forward, and you're going to get to your goals. You are. But at the same time, if you can have somebody giving you this advice that I'm saying right now,
Hmm.
listen to them.
I was, girl, I was like, she dropping gems, y'all. She dropping gems. Like,
Because I didn't want to listen. I didn't listen to anyone. I didn't listen to
yeah.
anyone. And it's like, man, that will really hinder your growth and your progress in this life if you think you know everything and you don't want to take advice from anyone. You really think you know you've been on this planet. You've been on this planet 18 years and you think you
Yeah.
know everything?
Yeah.
You know? So I just have to put that out there to anyone who's listening, who's younger, or even if you're not younger, but because some people just are still at haven't matured to that level yet, regardless
Hmm.
of your age. Listen when somebody tries to like teach you something and
Yeah.
show you a better way. Be
Yeah.
open, be open-minded. That can literally save you like years of struggle, of unnecessary struggle.
Man.
So,
I ain't got no words on that. I think that's an excellent way to close it out. Excellent, excellent advice. Like that's advice I would have given myself years ago because I was hard headed. The definition of it. Girl, all my lessons were learned the hard way.
yeah.
But they were learned. And that was the key thing. But I want to thank you so, so, so much for your time, your
Okay.
energy, your words. Like it was incredible having you on and touching, like catching up and touching base
Right.
again. Like, man, tell the good people where they can find you.
So you can find me on social media at Tahjere Official. That's Tahjere Official. Yeah.
There it is, y'all. And
There it is.
she'll be dropping new singles. You said at the end of April or mid-April.
Look, you never know. I might drop a new single next month. You
Just be
never
on the
know.
lookout. Follow her and be on the
Just
lookout.
follow
That's
me.
enjoy the ride, y'all.
Just tap in because, definitely the music is flowing right now
I
and
love it.
you're going to be in for some really good stuff over the next few months.
I cannot wait. I know we cannot wait. But on that note, y'all, make sure you guys go tap in, check her out. She does have her most recent single on Spotify. I'll put the link in the description box. But that's it for today, y'all. Y'all know where to find me, Rissa so far on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow Culture Fuzz.